Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your Sensei Al Bob, your griot for this little exhibition. And remember, the show is only for entertainment's sake. Let's say giggles. Don't take anything I say uh, at all as truth or relevancy, other than what strikes your heart. Can you hear that little drone? It's the drone of desperation. We are now kind of into the hurricane up here in the mountains, and hurricane season is going to be really bad this next between now and November. They say, oh, we're going to have 5 named storms, and 3 of them are going to be real bad. Forget it. It's going to be at least 5 storms on the level of Sandy. And a good deal of them are going to be between, Texas is going to get obliterated, and Florida is going to get obliterated, South Carolina, North Carolina, and, everybody near Wilmington, it's not going to even exist. The Navy there, go bye-bye, and, basically from Wilmington up to Maine, they're going to have nonstop nor'easters, and it's going to be a Sandy type of event to the 10th power, that instead of hitting just before the Hudson, it's going to go right up the Hudson. And it's going to take out New York City. It's going to make New Orleans look like a party. And then it's going to keep going and obliterate New York State. It's going to go all the way up the Hudson, all the way up, right, to the Erie Canal, and obliterate that. So get ready for that. And all of the, like Texas, gigantic oil refineries, the Gulf of Mexico, all those platforms, 2010, oil whoops in that platform, what's going to happen to the oil business up and down the east. The whole East Florida is going to be covered in oil. Good luck with your tourism then. Hey, it's not going to be a happy land in Disney World when all you can smell is the keynotes of gasoline. And then it's going to hit a point where it's going to catch fire. Fire on the water. Fire on the water. Woo! And the good news of this is it doesn't matter, and that's nothing compared to what's coming after that. And they're talking about, there's weather changes. Yeah, right. So I live in a rainforest, but in 2012 we had a little hiccup of the pattern of the rain, and we had just 2 months of a drought. And it turned this place into a tinder friggin' box. And the Rainbow Kids had their rainbow gathering about 70 miles from me. And after the West Virginia gathering in 2010, I guess, or 11 or somewhere around then, and it was such a debacle. I mean, it was just so bad. And I said, I'm not, I went to council, I'm not coming to ever, because all I had to do, I kept having to deal with knife fights and people bleeding out, and because I'm an EMT, emergency kind of guy, first responder, a emergency room tech. So I've seen my share of everything, and so and no one wanted to deal with anything. And then there was a kid that was sitting right on Main Street of the Rainbow Way in this gathering, and he had a 9mm in his lap, and he had a box of bullets, and he was loading clips. And, people walking by, and, oh, dude, oh, I love you. And they didn't even look at this guy. That shows what kind of empathy. But, I was feeling him a mile away. And I was about, 20 yards, kind of leaning against a tree watching this guy load bullets into clips. And he has a gun in his thing. He's sitting there cross-legged. And anyway, I come by and I say, nice day, isn't it? And it was a beautiful day. And he goes, He said, "Can I sit here?" Free country. And so I sat down, and I had my little thermos of beautiful tea. That's what I start my days off with. And I offered him a sip. And he goes, "Well," I said, "You got your own cup?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, you need a cup. This is Rainbow. And so I basically opened my pack, and I always had a Bliss Bunny plate and cup, and I gave them both and a fork, and they kind of have a string tied all three together, right? So you can't lose them or throw them away or get it caught in the bio um, thing. So anyway, I sit down and go, "Boy, that's." I said, "So where you from?" And, I said, "Oh, that gun. That's a nice gun. I like it." I said, English true. So he hands me the gun, and I pop the clip out. He's got a bullet in the chamber. I pop that out, and then I take it apart. I have my little scarf. I put it out on the ground, and I take it apart and put all the parts back together. I said, "Do you know how to put it back together?" He goes, "No. Why'd you do that?" I said, "Well, you should do that every time you use, every day you should take your gun apart and clean it and see what's right or wrong with it and see if it's going to work." He says, "I only need it to work today." And I said, "Well, what are you planning to do?" "I'm going to kill rainbows." And now he had the auspices to do that. He had 12 clips, each with 9 bullets in them. And one, he knew how to put them in the clips in. He knew how to put the bullets in the clips. He knew how to put the clips in the gun, and he was going to kill people. Right. And I said, "So what's the story?" And so he tells me a story. He says, he's about 16. When he was 14, he kind of came out to his parents, who were Baptists, what do you call them? Evangelicals. And what they do says, "Oh, get in the car, son." And they drove him 200 miles to the, furthest big city from them. And he was tired, and I think they gave him something to knock him out. So he had no idea how to get back home. And they just woke him up, said, "Okay, here's some bucks. Why don't you go into that bodega and get us some Twinkies?" And when he came back, they were gone. They just left them there, right? With $10, and he spent, $2 on Twinkies. So that's all he had. And so he was on the street, and then he got, gathered up by a, pimp, and the guy started, "Why don't you give me a blowjob? See how that is." And he turned him, right. And so he was on the street. He's a big money maker because he's good looking, white bread boy, and he was living in his house with all these people who were rainbow people, right? "Oh, we share everything. We love everybody. Blah, blah, blah." And so they're making money, and we're going to go to the Rainbow Gathering. It's going to be in West Virginia, right? So he basically woke up one day, and they had taken his everything, all his clothes, his knapsack, and all his money, everything. Left him with nothing except the clothes on his back. And so he went out, did some more tricks, and he knew that right, and made some money, and he was pissed off, really upset. His parents, they throw him out on the street 200 miles in a big city with, go buy some Twinkies. And then, he's then finds a family who thinks, cares about him, and they take his everything. So he makes some money. He buys himself a 9mm and a box of bullets. Legal, he went to Walmart's and got it. And, he was going to go there and, kill as many rainbows because their mothers, they took, he was going to, he didn't want to live anymore. He just was going to kill until someone killed him or he ate his gun, right? So he tells me that story. And I said, "Do you really want to die?" And I said, "You're not going to die with this gun. I'm not putting it back together for you. I'm going to give you the pieces. I'm going to wrap them up in this thing, and I'm keeping the bullets and the clips." So, and he was, I was a pretty big guy then, and, everyone knew me. And, they'd go, "Hey, Al, hey, Al, hey, Al." No one saw this kid with a gun. So I said, "Listen, you have to take care of yourself. You just need some, mature guidance to show you the way. And that's my job here, to help guys like you, right?" "Really?" I said, "How do you feel? When's the last time you slept?" He goes, I haven't slept in 4 days." I said, "Yeah, you're really good at making decisions. not sleeping for 4 days. Well, that tea you just drank how do you feel? That tea was great. I feel a lot better. I'm not as angry. I'm not upset. I mean, I'm upset, but I don't think I want to kill anybody. And I said, see, that's who you really are. That's what this tea does. And it was one of the teas that the old crone showed me. And so I said, listen, I'm the guy who everyone talks to. I have office hours over that kitchen, right? Let's saunter over there, right? So, Red Bear has it's called Levin Ovens, and they make meals too. They don't just break bread, but so they have a morning. Their breakfast is their big meal for everybody because not everyone's up, and they're pretty much up by before sunlight up, getting ready to bake and bake and bake. So they make breakfast first. These great little breakfast buns and you know, powdered eggs, and they really do a great job with powdered eggs. And so anyway, I bring them. Hey, Red, how you doing? And the guys who and gals who work at that kitchen, they've already kind of I heard. Can you fix this over here? So that was where my morning call is. They have a nice breakfast. They have really good coffee for me, and they have a table. And I have one of my hammocks there because I work on people in hammocks. And so I say, hey, Red, this kid, he needs to know the rainbow way. And I said, kid, this is a real rainbow. This guy lives 24/7 for this. He loves people. He is here to help. That's all. He's here to serve. And that's what the rainbow way is. There to serve. Problem is, in a gathering of 20,000 people, maybe 300 are there to serve. The rest are just scared to get laid, stoned, and have a good time and be free. So that is how our corporate attitude is. Our corporate attitude. We live in a oligarch, fascist, corporate country. We don't live in a republic. We don't live in a democracy. No. We are, we live in a prison planet, as what Pinhead says. And he's bought and paid for. I mean, every, there's a great book called there's one None Dare Call Conspiracy by Gary Allen, right? And our teacher, Doctor, what was his name? He wrote a book called Hope and Tragedy. He worked for the CFR. He was a scholar for the CFR, Brookings, you name it, he was it. And I was his, honorable student. And after he died, and a number of years, the people I met through him kind of bumped into me and said, Quigley was his name, Dr. Quigley. Quigley, I know he died. I went to his ceremony anyway, and you weren't there. And he spent years and years and years. Well, anyway, we need a guy like him, and you're it. Tag, you're it. And that's kind of how I got into being a scholar, rather than a scholastic. And I wasn't as prolific or as smart or as really gutsy as Quigley, but I tried to do my best. I tried to honor my teacher. Anyway, Gary Allen wrote this book, None Dare Call It Conspiracy. He because he that I have this talent of being able to be focused enough to get good at almost anything I put my mind to, right? I'm a great electrician. I'm a great photographer, a great artist, great writer, you name it. I can do it because I'm pretty good at being focused, Bum, 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 bum. Who is that? Boone. Let's see. Hello. Hello. One of my many, many doctors, but it's a robot. Everything's, so I worked for the corporate world for 10 years. Anyway, so I worked for 10 years for the corporate world as a negotiator. I worked for desperate lawyers. And I gained 240 pounds living their life, having 30,000 calorie lunches and eating, forget one slice of to die for chocolate cake. I friggin' ate the whole friggin' cake, 5 times a day. And I can't tell you, I do not regret a slice of any of that food. It was like the best food ever, made for the trillionaires, like Jeff Bezos, Pinhead Elon Musk, soulless Facebook boy, and Mr. I buy everything and screw everybody. What's his name? Anyway, those four guys in the 9 months after the COVID started, made $1 trillion. Trillion with a T. And paid no tax. Zip. If they had only been taxed 15%, that would have been the money needed, more than the money needed, to do two things. Give everyone single payer health care, meaning the government take care of everybody like every other industrial nation in America. China, not China, Japan, Germany, France, England, Cuba. Cuba has a better medical system per capita than we do. Tell me why the United States, richest country in the world, spends the most money. We spend more money on healthcare every freaking year than all the EU does. And they all have a single payer, meaning the government's paying for the healthcare. You're paying for yours, but still we spend more money on it. Why? Because it's profit motive, right? And not just profit, but excess profit. Stock market. I gotta have. Anyway, tell me why, when we have the biggest, baddest medical scene going on, we are only 4% of the world's population, but we had 20% of the COVID deaths on the planet, right? We had 35% of the people who were ended up in the ICU. How did that happen? Why? Because our medical system does not prepare for anything except profit. And so they didn't have in warehouses, the PPE they needed, or because they let China build all that stuff because there's no profit in it. It's like me. I'm trying to get orthopedic shoes so my legs won't. I'm getting all these sores because I'm walking around with crappy shoes, right? And my orthopedic shoes are totally worn out. And I'm living in rain, so I need shoes that really keep my feet dry, keep all my bones in line. And no one will do it because, first of all, I can't just go to Walmart and buy them. I have to have a prescription. And my doctors won't give it to me because they can't make money on it. A pair of orthopedic shoes, they make $20. But if my diabetes goes off the hook and they have to chop my legs off, they will make $20,000 a leg. And then, keeping me alive, they will make $100,000 until I die. Well, I don't want to die. That's why I lost 240 pounds. That's why I changed my everything about my life, and because I can't have, and the shoes, basically cost $15, but because I can't make profit on it. And so you thought 2020 was bad with the COVID. Oh, now we got the vaccine and everything's going to be hunky-dory. And we're going to have a spike that will make what's gone down so far look like nothing. Because everyone's like, all the states are letting loose. They're not even keeping track of people anymore. They're not taking statistics. So when the little spike starts to happen, they won't know anything about it until the ICUs are packed. And by that time, it is spread. So there's going to come a variant that will make the one in India look like nothing. And what'll be interesting is that all of us old folks who have gotten, especially if we've gotten the 2-shot ones, you will not die, right? You will not even get you might get a little sick, but you may not. Who knows? If you have things like I do, you might have a little problem, but still, that's not going to be a problem. The people who are going to drop like flies are the young, because this variant will be focused on them, because a virus just goes to where it can go and reproduce. It can't reproduce itself. It's not living. So it needs to, whenever you shut something down, it has to go someplace else. And that's why you get variants. And so who's going to really die is the babies. We're going to have death in America of the infants like in Africa. And then we'll see what Africa has been experienced for the last 70 years, right? And maybe we'll get some empathy out of that. I don't think so. And then kids from 0 to 40. I consider all of them kids since I'm 72, or in my 72nd year. And so, and that's just that. And all of this, the pipeline shut down, the meatpacking shut down, it's somebody's, well, every fucking computer system has been hacked, is already, in there. And so the morons who think they're smart about this are going to write an algorithm, an AI algorithm, that will go after all this stuff. And what it's going to end up doing is taking down the internet, which will, and look at what just happened to Puerto Rico, those poor folk. Their distribution plant that I used to wire up was hacked and then caught fire and burnt out the whole freaking place, So they're without electricity again, right? Let's see. So somebody just responded, vaccine will die. Well, good luck with that. Anyway, I've died 6 times, so I'm ready to go. I'm only here because, and again, what did I say right up the top of this thing? Don't believe a word I say. I'm not a soothsayer, I don't know anything. I tell you stories to make you think. That's what I'm trying to do. Make you think. Wake up. So bye-bye internet. Bye-bye electric grid. Bye-bye your car ever working again. Because once the internet goes down, it's like this Chromebook here. It doesn't really want to work unless I'm hooked up to Google, So, and then what's going to come out is that Mr. Pinhead Elon and Mr. Whack Job Amazon and Mr. Dead Soul Facebook and Mr. Real Estate and old fart dead guy transhuman Billy Boy. Well, basically, when everyone's like chewing on each other's leg, did you ever see any kind of apocalypse zombie movie? That's what we're gonna have to the 10th power, right? So, those morons are gonna show up and say, "Hey, you want electricity back? You want this back? You want that back? Well, we're here to do it, but you just have to take this little number and sign allegiance to." The NICP. You know what NICP stands for? Nouveau or Neo Insane Clown Party. And we had a little taste of that for the last, since since the Civil War. The Insane Clown Party has been ruling pretty much. But it I forgot which economist, Hobbes or Locke or one of those guys, they were talking about market values. The market really does work pretty good, except we don't have a real capitalist market system. It's supposed to be competing. No, we have oligarchs running everything, and they don't have to compete in anything, right? Google's a good example. And Facebook's a good example. Microsoft's a good example, right? So they make General Motors and Electric look like So anyway, this is all coming to a head. And this is the good news because this stuff can't go on. I mean, it went, we had Babylon, we had, Egypt, we had Rome, Greece, we had Spanish Inquisition, English Empire. It can't go on. You can't just keep, we got the ball for 100 years and then we passed it off to China. China went from everyone eating dirt to having a higher GDP than us in less than 30 years. When you have that kind of growth, you're going to look at a crash like you can't friggin' believe. So anyway, that's the good news, right? How was the eclipse? Well, it's been raining here for the last week, so I didn't see anything but gray skies. So, I felt it though, and that's the other thing. They're talking about weather changes. They should be talking about Earth changes. All of this was understood by Newton. Newton, Mr. Falling Apple guy, wrote about this. When we don't get to read his stuff, right? If you go read the Dead Schools, they talk about this big time. The Indians knew it. The Vedas knew it. Buddha knew it. And in 1891, basically, Tesla in the 1880 to 91, he was in Colorado Springs, where he discovers 0-point energy, free electricity, discovers how to transmit it without wires, and then comes back to New York, convinces Mr. Morgan to give him some money to make a plant that shows, hey, we can do this, and also communications. I mean, he was going to have like digital communications in 1891. So he does this at Warden Cliffs, and that's just where Long Island Mining Company, right on the footprint of the Warden Cliffs, they built the Shoreham nuclear reactor by gangsters. Anyway, so they understood this. They had a conference in Paris. That's why they had the Paris Accord for the environment, because it was a replica of the one 1891, where they basically said all of this. And it wasn't because we were burning fossil fuels, right? Fossil fuels. That's where they came up with that term. Like oil comes from dinosaurs. Sorry, kids. No. Oil is the synovial fluid of the planet. The more you take it out, the more the planet doesn't like it. So, it's like, if you had gears and you took all the, grease out of it, you'd start having grinding gears. And that's what we're going to start to have. So that's why our weather is doing what it's doing. And our weather is being caused by the sun. Right now, UV is at the highest since 2012. UV has been off the charts. Anything above 8 is deadly. And in the United States, across coast to coast, average is 7, and which is dangerous. 8, deadly. And we've had days up in the 9, 12 thing where you could fry an egg on your forehead just with with infrared and ultraviolet UV. But that's the thing that gets into through your skin. But there's still the whole spectrum of all those other energies I just said. And so we're looking at the only way this can be fixed is that it takes a spiritual motif, right? And that's what I've been talking about since day one of Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. So how many of you guys have been meditating? And all you have to do is close your eyes and breathe, okay? So right now, we're going to just show you how easy it is, all 6 of you. And there's probably another 12 on the backside of that. So everyone take a big breath and blow out. Big breath and blow out. Close your eyes. Take a big breath and hold it. And don't think of anything except holding that breath. And then breathe it out. That will empty your lungs, so your diaphragm will go lower. And the next breath you bring in, and you'll bring in the prana. That is why is your ugly bag of water walking around? It's the stuff that medical science thinks it is. It is the prana, the life force, right? Father Sky, Mother Earth, Holy Spirit, right? So let's say a little prayer in state. So we've got our eyes closed. We're breathing. So Father Sky, Holy Spirit, No. Father Sky, Mother Earth, Holy Spirit, bless us indeed. Enlarge our territory. Keep us safe from evil, so we will do no harm. So in every day and every way, we'll take the peace of the earth and make it stronger. Okay? So, there you go. That is your job, to take the peace of the earth to make it stronger. Not, we were not here to be merchants. That's not why our soul. And see, you are not your body. You are not this bag of water. You're not even your soul. Your soul is the server. What you are is spirit. And what is spirit? But it is God. And I don't like using that word. So I'm going to, from now on, just call it the burning bush, right? And when Moses was talking the burning bush, what did, burning bush is, free my people. He's talking about the Hebrew nation. Free my people from their slavery in Egypt. Now, the movie version, you think, oh, bad Egyptian Pharaoh. No, the slavery that the burning bush was talking about was that the tribe had gone way off the rails, and all they thought about was gold and power, and they wanted to be like the Egyptians. And the Egyptians let them do that. They, all of them money changers, all of the guys, scribes, they were all Jewish. They all had positions of power. They controlled, not owned, they controlled property, right? So that's what the burning bush, free them of that, put them back on the rails, get them to, in every day and every way, take the peace of the earth and make it stronger, right? And, the kids in Israel aren't doing that today, so they are totally off the rails, right? And, we have the right to kill anyone just because we think they might harm us. No. We're all AOR, all our relations. We're all related. And just because, we have the highest level of poverty per capita than any other industrial nation. We have more people in jail than any place on the world. Anyway, so I got to do stuff. Let's see what time it is. 10:11, not bad. There's 6 of you. I'm going to try and come back around 1 o'clock, right? Maybe, maybe not. If I don't come back by 1 o'clock, it means it's starting to. Right now, it's perfect. I need to get around because it's not raining. I'm going to do my errands, and then I am going to, if it's like this, we'll find another Wi-Fi spot and come on around 1. It's somewhere between 12 and 1. I'm not quite sure. Depends on how my errands go. So, okay, we're all good on that. You got it. So, let's leave it with a prayer, right? Father Sky, Mother Earth, Holy Spirit, bless us indeed. Put your hands upon our shoulders. Keep us from evil, so we do no harm. Enlarge our territory. And what that means is we can have, I live like a millionaire on $400 a month. I'd like to see you guys do that. I mean, I'm eating stuff out of the woods. I have my little garden going. It's actually doing pretty good. I got it all fenced in, like Berlin in 1950. And so basically, and I got good water. And even if that were to stop, we'd really have to have. The only time the well didn't really work that well is in 2012 when we had that summer of real bad drought. But it's raining, so it's filled to the gills. And at this point, when there's this much water in the ground, it's an artesian well. And there's only 2 people getting water from it. There's 70 sites that could, but no one's buying this shit. So bottom line, was supposed to be a little town, and it never happened. So it's like a bird sanctuary. I love it, right? And so right now, we once had a tornado rip through our power system, and we didn't have electricity for about 2 weeks. and the water still went because it, had been raining, and there was nobody here on the system except me, and it was fine. But in 2012, it did start to. Less was coming, and you could see when the pump would get on because you get a surge. So I'm pretty much covered. I'm far away, 40 miles to anybody else. I have nothing to steal or have now, and if anyone were to come, I would share whatever I have with them. So when you're, in times of crisis and you're the guy who can, heal people, help people, fix things, they're not going to kill you. You'll be the guy who gets that last glass of milk because we got to keep him alive because he's the only guy who can fix this, So anyway, so I'm going to jump off here, and I love you all. And remember, in every day and every way, take a piece of the earth and start breathing more. Do more meditation. Go back and look at my guided meditations. It's really hard for me to do it during the middle of the day with all this energy everywhere because I had to come into a town that's instead of being in a quiet place. And so that's it. I love you guys. You stay well. Be good. I hope you got something out of this. And oh, yes. Come on. Throw something in that PayPal account. Go to PayPal, the dude awake42 at Gmail. No one's put it into it for weeks. And I don't even know if it still works. I go through it, and there's never anything there. It would be nice. Like I am down to less than a quarter of a tank of gasoline. And I'm going to have to clean the car out in the parking lot to find a few bucks to put in my gas tank. That's my major thing is my first thing was to get my laptop squared away and talk to you guys. And then head and do, let's see what's left on my food stamps. And, but I have enough food. I really don't need it. It would be, I could use a dozen eggs and, a few, so that's, I have no money to buy, just buy that. So it would be nice if you threw something in a PayPal. But I'm not at me. I can go without eggs. Really the only thing, I have everything I need. And it's just those little niceties, those conveniences like gasoline and eggs, and bread that, I need money for. And medicines and doctors. And, but they're almost useless. It's taken 5 months for me. I had to go to another kind of HMO nonprofit thing, and they had to do all the same paperwork, and I just took the paperwork from the other HMO and said, here, all the information you need is there. So here's the HIPAA thing. So just put that in your computer. No, you have to fill out the form. I said, well, I can't, and by law, blah, 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 you have to sit at that desk and talk to me for the next 40 minutes and do this while I keep, telling you, let me look at your palm, and then telling you everything about you, everything you try to hide from people. I will tell you right now and really freak you out to a point where, okay, give me the paperwork, I'll do it. And so this one bureaucrat, well, we have to take the, I gave him my driver's, I had a little picture of me, and they, that was a photo ID, and so now we have to take this, like digital thing that they can my face will be my ID, not the little picture. I said, fine. So I opened up my sack and I pulled out. Where is it? Well, I pulled out my party hat. I can't find it. And which is a dunce hat that has stupid written on it. And it has penises all over it, right? I made it, a little piece of art. And, dickhead, right? So stupid. Richard Cranium. Richard, Dick, Cranium, Head. And I put that on my little head. It was pointed little thing, right? Then I had these plastic Dollar Tree glasses that were American flags, but looked like guitars, right? And they had mirrored lenses, right? And then I pulled this thing up to here because I had to have my mask on. And then I kind of sat like this. I said, go ahead, take the picture now. And the woman was so disconnected. She just kind of, because the camera was pointed at me, she just hit the button, right? And so when I came back, the head doctor came over to me. What are you? Who are you? He goes, I saw that picture. I pissed myself. I said, that's what I think of the medical model. And he just said, I'm with you, buddy. I said, but you're running this place. He said, well, I try to do the best I can. But some of the bureaucratic people here are from old school, big pharma. So this is what they're going to do. And so I said, well, this is what I do. And he goes, I'll try and, I said, are you going to get me the freaking shoes? He goes, I'll do my best. And that's when he told me, as two other guys told me, the only reason I'm not getting them is they don't make money on it. And they want me to, my diabetes, to have them chop off my legs so they can make $300,000 out of me. That's the average. And then you die. You live another year. And once they cut your legs, we have all the stuff I do, you live less than a year, and it's not pleasant death. So keeping my legs keeps me fit. I've lost to 240 pounds because of that. Keeps me fit because I'm living out in the middle of the woods. And man, I could not get around. We'll give you an electric wheelchair. Good luck with using that in the national forest. So anyway, that's my life, and I really like it. My brother, you made your decisions, I said, yeah, I sure did, buddy. So did you. So do we all. And that's the real, when I ask you the question, here's the question, and nobody's giving me a thumbs up. Come on. Give me a couple of thumbs up there. And go to PayPal and put in the Dude Awake 42 and give me whatever. Just give me whatever so I can see the thing working, Anyway, but it doesn't matter because, I'm here to serve love's co-creation, right? And what are you? That's my question. Okay, anybody got an answer there? Buddy, you got an answer? What are you? And don't give me pictures. I like the one you got here. 2 eyes, the lips in the middle, and the two thumbs. I like that. So what are you, buddy? Tell me. And yes, you are a bag of water. Yes, you're your avatar. Yes, blah, blah, blah. No, what is one word? Why are you here? What are you? What's the reason for you? Tell me. And here's a important message. Remember, kids, Sensei Al Bob needs your money, just like God needs your money. Why does God need money? I have never understood that. Boop, 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 boop. Now, it'd be one thing if the church, when they pass a plate, if they then went and bought everyone a meal, that would be, okay. But boop, boop, boop. What are you? Come on, think about it. What are you? Why are you here? What's the reason you're put here? Why? Come on. It wasn't to be a merchant. Wasn't to be driving. There was a kid. He was using a leaf blower to blow the rain off the parking lot because it didn't look good, and he wasn't wearing any earmuffs. And it was like, in the beginning of this, there was the drone going on, and he was a good 100 yards, so he was probably getting 80 to 120 decibels. That will make you deaf. It'll do really strange things to your consciousnly. Experience, getting close, very, very close. That is like the kind of why we're in the sandbox, to have experiences. Okay, I'm going to cut to the chase. The real deal is what you're here is to decide what you're going to do. Why you have free will? Going to do this? Going to do that? Going to be my better angels or my worst devils? We're the deciders, and we're the reflection of God. God's a work in progress. A whip, work in progress, and we're his reflection. The only way God can see what's going on is looking at us. So that's why we're here. We're the deciders. We decide what God's got. We made God in our image and likeness. Anyway, come on, some thumbs up, please. Come on, and go to PayPal and when I ask you for what Gmail account, because everyone is when this internet goes down, everyone's going to be on Google. Period. Everyone's going to be the Alpha City, right? I used to live in the Alpha City. Lower East Side, Avenue A to Avenue Z. Anyway, so you're the decider. You got to decide. Give me a thumbs up. Anyway, I'm out of here. Sensei Al Bob out. And I'll try and get back around 1. So think about all this stuff. I'm glad every Anthony and Buddy and who is that Sally? I don't know. But I appreciate everyone who joined in the cadre here. But I want a little more interesting thing. I mean, Buddy, experience, very good. You got a B+ on that, Buddy. Okay, here we go.